Welcome to The Critical Path, Project Management and Leadership in Complex Environments, the podcast where we explore how leadership and project management come together to deliver complex projects when failure simply isn't an option. I'm your host, Isaac Alcaide. Hello! Episode number 10, The Quiet Multiplier. Why mentoring matters in complex environments. Mentoring is often talked about as a nice to have, something valuable, but secondary to delivery, deadlines, and performance metrics. In reality, mentoring is one of the most powerful levers for sustainable performance in complex environments. When systems are uncertain, knowledge is fragmented, and experience cannot be captured fully in processes or documents, people become the critical path. Mentoring accelerates learning, builds judgement, and transfers tacit knowledge that no framework or methodology can fully describe. In this episode, we explore why mentoring matters far more than we often acknowledge, particularly in high-stakes complex projects. We'll look at mentoring not as a formal program or hierarchy, but as a leadership behaviour, one that shapes capability, confidence, and culture over time. We'll also explore what effective mentoring actually looks like in practice and why its impact often becomes visible only years after. In complex environments, experience compounds faster than process maturity. No matter how well an organization documents lessons learned, the most valuable knowledge is usually tacit. How to read a room in a critical review, when to push back on a sponsor, how to sense early warning signs before metrics move. Mentoring is the primary mechanism through which this knowledge is transferred. One of the key misunderstandings about mentoring is that it is about giving answers. In reality, effective mentoring is about shaping thinking. A mentor does not remove complexity. They help someone navigate it. They do this by asking better questions, sharing patterns they have seen before, or providing psychological safety for reflection and doubt. Mentoring also creates decision makers, not followers. In complex projects, leaders cannot centralize every decision. They rely on people at all levels to exercise judgment. Mentoring accelerates the development of that judgment by exposing less experienced practitioners to the reasoning behind decisions, not just the decisions themselves. A critical benefit of mentoring is confidence calibration. Inexperienced professionals often oscillate between overconfidence and self-doubt. A good mentor helps them understand where their confidence is justified, where caution is needed, and how to recover when mistakes happen. This is especially important in environments where errors are costly and visibility is high. I'll give a real world example. Several years ago, I was working on in a very technical, complex program with significant governance pressure and multiple external stakeholders. One of the project managers on the program was highly capable, technically strong, and exceptionally diligent, but struggled in senior forums. In design reviews and steering meetings, they tended to default to detailed explanation rather than strategic framing, which reduced their influence despite a strong underlying performance. Rather than correcting them publicly or rewriting their material, a senior leader took on a mentoring role. After each key meeting, they spent time reviewing not just what had been said, but how it landed. They discussed questions such as: what decision was the room actually trying to make? Which concerns were emotional rather than technical? Where did silence signal risk rather than agreement? Over time, the mentee began to anticipate these dynamics. Their updates became shorter, clearer, and more decision-focused. They learned when to pause, when to escalate, and when to let uncertainty exist without immediately filling the gap. The transformation was not immediate, but it was durable. Within a year, that project manager was leading critical discussions independently and mentoring others themselves. The organization did not just gain a stronger individual contributor, it gained another mentor, multiplying the original investment. Mentoring is often treated as optional or informal, but in complex systems, it is a leadership obligation. Leaders shape the future capability of their organization, not through slides or strategy documents, but through the people they developed. Importantly, mentoring does not require formal titles. Some of the most effective mentoring relationships happen laterally or even upwards. What matters is intent, a willingness to invest time, share experience honestly, and allow others to learn without fear of judgment. Mentoring also strengthens organizational resilience. When knowledge is distributed rather than concentrated, teams adapt faster to change. People are more willing to speak up, challenge assumptions, and take ownership, all essential behaviors in uncertain environments. Let's reflect about what I just said. Mentoring rarely shows up on dashboards, right? But its absence is always felt. Organizations that neglect mentoring often struggle with fragile leadership pipelines, repeated mistakes, and dependency on a small number of individuals. By contrast, environments where mentoring is normalized tend to feel calmer under pressure. People think more clearly, communicate more effectively, and recover faster from setbacks. On a personal level, most of us can trace our biggest growth moments back to someone who took the time to challenge us, listen to us, or simply say, "Here's what I learned the hard way." Mentoring is not about creating replicas of ourselves. It's about enabling others to develop their own judgement and leadership style. In complexity, that diversity of thinking is not a weakness. It is a strength. To conclude, mentoring is a quiet multiplier. Its impact is little in the short term, but profound over time. In complex environments where uncertainty is unavoidable and experience matters deeply, mentoring becomes one of the most effective tools leaders have. If you are in a leadership role, ask yourself not only what you are delivering today, but who you are developing for tomorrow. If you are earlier in your career, seek mentors not for answers, but for perspective. The critical path in complex systems is rarely technical alone. It is human. And mentoring is one of the most reliable ways to strengthen it. That's everything for today. Next week, another episode of The Critical Path. Take care. Thanks for listening to The Critical Path, project management and leadership in complex environments. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow or rate the show on Spotify and share it with colleagues who work where reliability matters most. See you on the next episode of The Critical Path.